They are not the same. The crucial XRP Ripple and XLM stellar difference. Bitcoin and XCN update as well. Bitcoin clearly had a little bit of a pullback as we see here on this chart to around $59,000. And we actually had this laid out here since February saying, hey, there may be some type of support within this area. Yes, we could still push lower down to around $50,000, but it's less and less likely. If we can maintain this in a consolidation phase, we can expect a reversal to take place as the RSI is still oversold and it is potentially forming a little bit of a W here to try and push this back up over that yellow ribbon. Yes, we could see this yellow ribbon suppress this and push this to the oversold once again, which would essentially be pushing Bitcoin back down to around 52,000. So keep that in mind while we go over this TA. And we're actually going to dig into some of the XLM and XRP differences. And yes, we will cover XCN in this video as well. Bitcoin dropping down. I was looking at this news that's here on TradingView, and what kind of stood out was the fact that it was stating that there was $1 billion in liquidations within 24 hours, compromising $780 million in longs and only 221 million in shorts. With this small little bit of information, what it says to me is that a lot of people are becoming more bullish with Bitcoin at these price levels than they are bearish. But the market likes to take money from both sides and liquidate anybody who is, leveraging their trades and saying, I got $1,000, I'm going to 10x leverage my trade in longs, and then they immediately get liquidated. That's all fun and games. We're essentially waiting for Bitcoin to finish out this consolidation phase and start pushing back up towards that 200 EMA around the 75,000. Now, digging into XLM, I don't bring this one up as much. It's had a little bit of volatility back here whenever it was integrated into DTCC and them wanting to tokenize stocks and utilize the XRP ledger. But with XLM doing its slight pullback underneath the CM guppy, we could see this pulling back towards this black upward trend line or even a little bit lower as it tapped down, around 14 cents. So there is still a little bit more of a retracement that can play out. We do have this trend line, as resistance, and essentially XLM just needs to get up over this, test it as support right around this area, around the 20 cent mark. And then once it confirms that, we can see a nice easy push up towards the 32 cents or looking all the way over at this Fibonacci retracement around 37 cents for XLM. And this is the reason why I say I keep telling myself to buy more XLM, but I'm waiting for a little bit better confirmation. So I did personally miss this 100% pump, but I'm okay with it because we are back down towards a pretty decent entry point, but I still need confirmation to break this downward trend line. And more than likely, I will draw the circle here. This is the area I'm looking to enter in to XLM. So let's kind of dig into the differences between XLM and XRP. There's a whole bunch of information out there. You just kind of Google it. This is one thing that was brought up on Binance. Binance is a pretty reputable platform. They've had some issues in the past, but we're going to kind of bypass that and kind of go over what they are stating very easily for people to comprehend. So let's kind of scroll down a bit. Accessibility, both are by Jed McCaleb. Yes, Brad Garlinghouse is in there as well. And Brad Garlinghouse actually did an interview, which is pretty good representation of what is happening with XRP currently. He says you hold a basketball underneath water. Eventually, whenever you let go, that thing's going to shoot up. That's essentially what we are doing with XRP, and I will show you the chart here in a minute. But XRP is a deflationary currency, and The currency will likely increase as time goes on. So XRP is not just something that's going to do these like major one done type pump things. XRP has been suppressed for over a decade and a half now, and it's about time for them to let go of that basketball and let it launch up into the air. Yes, we're going to get some major pumps. There are going to be some retracements on the way up, but since it's a deflationary currency, fees are burned. So every time a transaction is made, you only have, what is it, 100 billion XRP. It's a lot, but every time a transaction is made, the currency is burned. So the supply and demand aspect definitely plays out for XRP. And with XLM, more than 90% of the currency is going to the public, as opposed to Stellar being a fixed annual inflation rate of 1%. It is also a governance token, and I believe that the community voted against the inflationary aspect of XLM. They don't want to see more currency being printed, they want a finite supply, just like XRP. So both XRP and XLM have limited amount of how many coins are available. Mining is not available for either currency. That's very important to note because I saw one YouTuber had like thousands and thousands of views, and he's like, yeah, use this platform, you can mine XRP. It's a scam. You cannot mine XRP unless you are playing that roller coin game, because roller coin, I have earned a ridiculous amount of XRP, Doge, Solana. As you can see, I am now at 107 XRP. I only need 40 in order to withdraw it, and I withdrew 700 Doge just the other day or a week ago, and I put it back down at 220 Doge. Here I am sitting back at 570 Doge, and that's at current price evaluation at like 8 cents. It's about $1 a day, not much. But if Doge goes up to a quarter, which is highly, highly possible, it's going to be worth a lot more. So use the reference link, check out that game as well. Great way to earn passive income. Love it every day. You don't even have to play the game after a while. But XRP maximum supply, 100 billion coins. XLM, on the other hand, is 50 billion. So you can see that there's more XRP out there, but we'll kind of dig into this a little bit deeper. Essentially, XLM is going to be for peer-to-peer and decentralized network, and XRP is for banking corporations, governments, institutions. So if you have the possibility of being in on the floor level of that, that is why we are stacking our XRP, because we know banks aren't going to go away. Banks want to hold the money. They want to give you a small APY for using your money. And essentially, XRP is kind of creating an entirely new bank, and it's going to be working with the other banks. And you know what? We're going to try and give a nice APY for people who are actually investing in something that is more or less risky at this point in time. But Clarity Act is coming. They say July 4th, could be July 14th, could be November. We don't know. But when that act is passed, hopefully before August, when that act is passed, it's going to be the security for XRP, XLM, Algorand, Solana, Doge, and a bunch of other coins. There's a bunch of information out there. You guys got to do your own research to really get into the nitty gritty of all of it. We're going to kind of dig into this a little bit further. XRP was in 2012, Stellar 2014. Founder is the same dude. General purpose, transfer between borders for both of them. XRP is for banks and professional institutions. Stellar is for the general public. Right now, you can stack your XRP and be a part of the institutions and banks before they increase the price so high that, maybe it's in the stock market and you can buy a portion of it, ETFs, all that good stuff. But the banks are a major, major player in the entire world. If you don't know that already, I don't know what to tell you. But stack your XRP. It's hands down one of the best coins that are going to be out there in the near future, uh, apart from the fact that it is deflationary. So it is burning itself, meaning the cost has to increase. Even though there's 100 billion, institutions want this coin to be at a high price because burning XRP, it's a small fraction, but with that burn, the price has to be high so it doesn't really, violate the potential of what XRP can be. And it says mostly controlled by founders, but with the Clarity Act, we know, as well as we already know, that it is not a security, it is a commodity. Major, major thing to understand. And for XLM, public holds a vast majority of it. Moving on, XLM, still waiting on an entry right there. That's my eyesight for where I would be putting in a bigger bag of XLM is right around that 20 cents. For XRP, XRP is decreasing in price currently, but this is exactly what we want to see. Typical Karen. This is exactly what she does every time right before takeoff is creates that last low trying to shake out people. We could see it push down potentially 80 cents depending if Bitcoin goes down to 52K, but it's doubtable that Bitcoin's going to go to 52K. So keeping that in mind, XRP is back down at $1. If you guys missed this entire year to be stacking it, whether it's at $3, $1.30, or lower here at $1.08, um, it's testing this channel and it's staying very tight against that upper side of the channel over this dotted trend line. So it can pull down to this area, but more than likely we'll find support here and then test this trend line again. Once this is broken, that is when everything will take off. And the blue line for July 4th is getting closer and closer, but there's nothing to state that July 4th is going to be the day when XRP breaks out of this channel. We could see this consolidate past July 4th, get into like July 14th, and maybe break out of the channel. And we want to see that test as support. But at $1, it's extremely, extremely undervalued. RSI is oversold. It's just a matter of time. We're just playing a waiting game. Some people think this is going to go bonkers here in the next couple months. I'm playing XRP like a next decade game. I've been playing it for a decade, made a ridiculous amount of profit, still playing it for the next decade. The money will come to you, and stacking as much as you can around this dollar price point, you will definitely not regret it. You can always take your XRP. I keep recommending it like I did on my other video. Put it in Nexo. There's a reference link in the description below. If you take $5,000, I know it sounds like a lot for some of you. Some of you have more than $5,000 you're willing to blow. Take $5,000 in XRP, use the reference link, stake it on Nexo, and after 45 days, you get $600 in Nexo token, which you can sell and buy more XRP if you want, or you can hold on to it and earn higher APYs through Nexo by holding their native token. You get $600, I get $600, cost you nothing. And while that money is staked on Nexo for those 45 days, you are earning passive APY. You cannot mine XRP, but you can stake it and earn passive rewards in XRP, not in dollars. The dollar just keeps decreasing in value, but XRP, even though it is decreasing in value right now, it is going to increase in value when we get out of this channel. So don't panic sell, keep stacking, and let's move on. Let's go to XCN. XCN, even though Bitcoin is doing its pullback, let's go on crypto's chart because it looks a little bit cleaner. Even though it's doing its little bit of pullback, it's right around that fair value gap. It's trying to hold above the 0.0036. If Bitcoin does pull back, we could still see this hit all the way down here, but that would have to be a major dump for Bitcoin to be heading all the way down to the bottom of this wedge. There's still a bunch of liquidity waiting to enter the market in this area, keeping in mind the RSI is still oversold. We could see this come up, test that yellow ribbon, get a little bit of rejection, which is essentially a longer consolidation period. And just like I was saying with XRP, holding the basketball underwater, essentially we are holding this basketball underwater. So I'm okay with it. I'm waiting for it. This thing will pop, just like the SYN video I talked about. The 200 EMA is very thinned out, very close, making it very, very easy for XCN to just skyrocket over that. And we saw SYN for members, those of you who are members got in on that. You guys saw that push and hopefully took the ride with it 1,000%, which is essentially putting us up at the previous high. So some of you are a little bit weary in crypto saying, we can't see a 10x. That's ridiculous. The stock market doesn't do that. Crypto, you can. As soon as that 200 EMA is thinned out, and you don't even need some major news, you can see people just tossing money into something that is going up because it can very easily hit 0.0465 again, just like we saw with SYN. So if you're not stacking at this 0.00378, you're going to be missing out on those extra hundreds of percentage in gains. Some of you are waiting for it to cross over this downward trend line. Completely reasonable. Some of you are waiting for a pullback. Completely reasonable. But if you don't have a bag already, you can keep stacking within this area. Yes, we may see a little bit further of a pullback, and you could keep stacking from there. But this thing can easily go 10x and way, way higher. We are in a downward wedge, which is a bullish formation. We are building a base. We are being suppressed. And it's just a matter of time before this 200 EMA is exhausted and this black downward trend line is broken and it is off to the races. Hold on tight. Don't sell your bag. Keep stacking, like, subscribe, become members so you don't miss those pumps like SYN. That was phenomenal. It was like perfect at 2 cents to 36 cents. Beautiful. I am very proud of myself as well as everybody else who nailed or kneeled those entries. Good luck. Have fun with it. And I will see you guys on the next one.